Yeah,
Your first rolling motivation. Let's do this.
absolutely. So this,
Cheers.
uh, cheers, my friend.
Shazam.
What do you got on your cup? Oh, Guardians of the.
Baby Yoda, Mandalorian.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Very, very accurate for today's meeting because you're definitely like the internet Yoda for me in terms of a lot of this stuff.
Right
Um,
back at you, Ben Kenobi.
Thanks, man. Um, it was just because you've been in the that you've been in the game of sort of, you want to call it affiliate marketing, or what would you sort of call what you do?
I would just say digital marketing.
Digital marketing, yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I have over 10 years, well, close to 10 years of digital marketing experience. Everything from publishing to to affiliate to working for corporate to small business. Just kind of doing that for the last 10 years, and speckled with here and there. But it has not come without its challenges. But those challenges make you stronger, as you know.
Well, they do, and we talked about that sort of yesterday, and just the thought of attributing the challenges to the easiest analogy is the muscle growth in the gym, or for fitness or triathlons that you do, is like, you have to break the muscle down in order for it to grow, right? So
Totally. Yeah.
it's the same with learning. It's the brain
Yep.
is just a muscle. All your skills are learned. The older I get, the more I sort of, I always ask the nature versus nurture type of conversation, and I always think that it's more nurture than anything else, because you can learn anything. Like, people are born with a certain thing that they are good at, and they should focus on that if they enjoy that. But in
Hmm.
terms of everything else, you just have to learn it as you go.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think there's the voluntary challenges that we put ourselves through, like the Ironman or ultra running, different workouts like you do with those. What are those new bars that you have?
The Libert equalizer bars, the
Word up.
EQs.
Oh, those are rad.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
so cool. That's awesome that you're on that. Um,
Yeah, I just became an ambassador for those, so they gave me my own affiliate link and my own discount code. So yeah, I feel pretty, pretty privileged to be one of those guys. Especially considering, in today's fitness world, I'm not sort of your necessarily ideal looking fitness guy. And I think, I'm in good shape, pretty strong. I've had to stay healthy being in the wheelchair, but not being necessarily like 8 pack and shredded all to every inch of me is not necessarily what the norm is nowadays. So
well, we'll have to have a workout,
absolutely,
a Zoom workout with those things. That'd be fun.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's a voluntary challenges like, those bars or Ironmans or ultra running and stuff like that. And then there's those challenges that come to us just like from nowhere, the ones that come left streak. And those are the ones, if we're not prepared to handle, can either send us two ways or a few ways. One way, it could like send us into a crazy depression, or leave us feeling discombobulated. But it's those ones that are truly, if we can be prepared for them, that we can grow from those. And that's the same for work. That's the same for relationship. That's the same for everything. And I think becoming more aware of those situations can really roll up our motivation. You know what I'm saying? And so I
Absolutely.
think I think that's the thing that that can, like I said, those challenges that come from left, from without us knowing,
Right.
can really just go, whoa, where am I? What's happening? What's going on? And I think in today's society, we've had a lot of left hooks come our way, and we're all feeling in this society a little discombobulated, and to try and get it back on our feet in the ring. And I think being able to get up time after time, and this just as such as me, and we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
You've grown up with challenges. I've grown up with challenges. Being half Chinese and going, not knowing which side of the fence I am, and then you with everything that you've gone through, which you'll talk about as well.
Yeah.
It's those things that keep us going. And we're like, remember how we were talking on the phone the other day, how it's those times that we're just like, we just get up. And then today we have these challenges right now, what we're facing. I'm not going to say the word or the,
Exactly.
but I'm just saying that we're like, oh, what can we do next? What's the next thing that we can do? And what
Yeah.
are we going to do to keep moving forward? And here we are today on a Zoom broadcast, in the rolling motivation world. Just saying, let's do this. Let's move forward. It's really opened up a new challenge, and I think.
Well, and I think for me, and I think maybe you feel the same way. Like I see a lot of people and a lot of friends and stuff. They're family specifically, really unsure of what they're going to do next or how this is all going to unfold, how long it's going to last, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And and for us, I just noticed like I'm still working and still building content and still doing all the stuff because like it never changed. Like with technology, because of my cerebral palsy. For those of you who don't know, I was born with cerebral palsy, so I was born 3 months premature and pulled it with forceps and had underdeveloped lungs and all that kind of stuff. So it caused sort of trauma to the brain that caused brain damage that affects the message from my brain to the rest of my body. I used to say it only affected my legs, but turns out it affects some hand coordination with the left hand. Some of my limbs don't always do what I want them to do, but I'm blessed enough to be able to walk when I can hang on to stuff. I've got full feeling all the way down to my toes. Can't necessarily wiggle them, but I do my best. And so I can walk getting into the car. I can stand on those equalizer bars, canes, things like that. I live on my own, drive and drag race, and have always worked. But having all of this technology in front of us for all these years, let's just realistically call it the last decade has been really good, because since about 2010, 12-ish, we've really had a good, stable example of social media and the internet and all those different types of things. So at least in the last 5 or 10 years, we've really been able to go online with a lot of stuff, and that's really helped someone with mobility issues that I can't get everywhere. I can't get into every conference building. I can't get into all that stuff. I've been doing this for years, and to have an opportunity where everyone else is now kind of catching up, it's just another day of the office for us, right?
Well, totally. And I think you hit it on the nose there, is that and I had a conference the other day about this. We were talking social media. That was another uncomfortable situation, but I had fun. I had a great time. I'll get into that later. But there's no reason why we can't do something on the net or work a business or try and make something work for us, our dreams come true and stuff like this, because we do have these the technology. We have laptop computers, we have our phone, but a lot of people get stuck. Either they're like scared of writing a blog content. Well, fuck that. You don't have, anyhow, you can't do that. Well, you can use a video. Well, I'm kind of nervous behind the video. Well, then use hand puppets. I don't know. Just try and find out your comfort zone, or work against your comfort zone. Go against that comfort zone. Be uncomfortable with it and try it, because you have all this great technology. So why can't we move forward building something that now have to be like this Instagram booty girl, or this guy driving a Lamborghini, or you don't have to. It's not about the fanciness. It's about here, the heart. It's about
the grit and what you're passionate about, and and people get caught up, I think, when they hear that word, like what you're passionate about. I kind of look at it as, what are you passionate about right now? Like, you don't have to be passionate about something for your whole life. Like,
no.
I'll love cars and hot rods and classic cars until the day that I die. But I'm not gonna always want to talk about them. I'll go in fits and starts, and I'm pushing out content for another website that I have, coolvehicles.ca. But like, that's in its infancy, like big time. And now I got distracted in a good way by these exercise bars, and you're always helping me push rolling motivation, and we did a 5K, and you jumped in a wheelchair, and we trained, and we did all that. That was 3 years ago
my
now.
Arms.
and so
it was like a challenge.
It was such a great experience for me, because like I got to see what you went through being like a triathlete, and doing
vice versa,
your ultras, but then now you're just using your arms.
Yeah.
right? So like to go through those experiences, like that's something that at that time that
Hmm.
was where my focus was. Like, there were days when I was like, oh, I don't want to go work out with Dave because like I had to, and then like it was good having you there because you were like one more lap, two more laps, and you were just like you pushed me past that sort of that comfort zone, like
Yeah.
out of that sort of 40% that David Goggins talks about. And like I just think there's lots of those experiences, and we were passionate about that at the time of that, and now we're doing these things. So I think
I know.
people need to find whatever they want to do, not necessarily in the moment, but if you can find something you would like to stick to for, say, the next 3, 6, 9 months, I
Yep.
think you can really find something. And oftentimes, passion comes back if I'm actually being successful in something.
Yeah.
So if
Oh
I'm
yeah.
doing something for 3 or 4 months, and I'm actually finding some success
Hmm.
and actually learning things, and things are happening. Maybe I'm getting some commission from things like that, or I'm making some sales, or whatever that target is for you. If you
Yep.
find some success in it, you're going to want to keep doing it, and
Yep.
that's what makes it fun for us to succeed at something.
Well, that's the thing is that it's the Ironman's great, ultra distance is great. It's not about the race itself. It's about the journey, and in that journey, you experience those ups and downs. Like when I was training for my 50K last year, I bonked. I wasn't prepared. I went out to the woods, did I think it was lots of hills at that point. It was all hills, all on the booty. And I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any of my food. I didn't have any gels. I was being Mr. Man, Mr. Masculine, and I bonked. And I was listening to a podcast, a Rich Roll podcast,
Yeah.
a very emotional one, and I'm like feeling super emotional. Oh God! And I was like, I feel for you, man. This is like, and it dawned on me. I'm like, I'm bonking. Like I had to pull myself out of that emotion. It's like I didn't bring anything to drink really. I didn't bring anything to eat, which you should be doing when you're doing these distances in the hot summer sun, doing massive hills.
And
Yeah,
was this before the race when you were training?
this is part of the journey. And then it was painful. I got back to the parking lot. My wife Anne, she was doing the Summit Trail just across from me. I was going towards Jocelyn at the Finlayson Arm, and I realized, oh, I bonked so bad. I hurt so bad. It was not good. But that was an uncomfortable moment. I realized that was a moment that I needed to learn from, and so I logically said, okay, now it's time to be prepared, yo. Don't get lost in this whole, heroic thing of like, being Hercules and it's all about the finish line and all this. Just be prepared, think logically, be in the moment, right? I was getting lost in the moment. I
Yeah.
was getting lost in that time, and I wasn't giving myself a logical explanation, or I wasn't lending myself to logical, analytical thinking of what I actually needed to do to keep my body going. But that was the moment after the race. It was all those little points that I learned, those painful up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, running Mount Doug, all these different things that I learned. And when I look back at the race, I don't think I like that day going and crossing the finish line. Oh, thank God. But it was all those little points. And if we back in our life, like you and I, back those that we've had challenges. For me, getting bullied, being beat up, having awkward social circumstances, me not knowing what to do, having kids at a young age. It was like, what do I do? But I look back. You have a choice. You can go, oh, my life, oh, it really sucks. Yeah, no, oh, or you could go, look at these things. Like, look at where I'm at now. Right? Look at where I'm at. Look at all those little things help me get to where I am now. And it's
Yeah.
just picking yourself up when you get knocked down. And yeah, it's the journey. Like life is a journey, and you have to accept it. And if you're doing something, don't put expectation on it, right? Don't put any expectation. Don't put any ego on it. Just allow it to be. And then when you do, you're able to excel. That what you want comes to fruition. But the moment you put ego on it, the moment you put like, I have to make this, I have to do this, I have to do this. No, we know this in social media. We know this in content building is like, get it out. But no, you have to be smart about it. What keywords are you attacking? What, all these different things, but you have to get that out. You have to keep going. don't put any expectation on it when you're getting started. Just go with the flow. Use your phone, do something, do what we're doing, and collaborate. Create your team. Steve, we're a team. This
Yeah.
is the cool thing, is that we work off each other, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like I noticed that we've come together for a few projects in the past, and I think like we always sort of come together at opportune times. Like
Hmm.
it just was sort of interesting that like I think at that time in my life when we did the 5K, I I was stagnant and a bit stale and just needed something different. And it was something that would like it wasn't just like motivational videos and it wasn't just about like all the work that I was doing at the job that I was at and all those things. It was something that people could actually like sort of grab a hold of. There was a couple guys rolling around in a wheelchair. One actually, use a wheelchair full time, and his buddy just decided to be crazy enough to jump in a wheelchair beside him, and then we go raise some money for the MS Society at that time,
Yeah.
and it was interesting for me to be ready for that and to learn the things about hydration and I still have those mini water bottles that have the Velcro pack that you gave me, like
Oh
just
yeah.
small things like that, right?
Yeah.
And like so it's just good to think about things in a bigger way. We
Hmm.
also at that event got to speak on a microphone about kind of what we were doing,
That
and
was
in
awesome.
front of people,
Mhm.
and for me, I'm fairly comfortable with that, but still, talking about something that I'm not necessarily like super prepped for, like I would be for a Toastmaster speech or a video that I'm going to do or things like that.
Mhm.
It was all those experiences, and you get to almost like being a little bit uncomfortable, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of if I get stale, that's what I look for is looking for being a little bit uncomfortable, and if I start to get uncomfortable, that's the best way to do things. Um,
100%. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the fatigue the muscle and watch it grow if you feed it right. You got but
yeah,
there's a science behind it, but
yeah,
you got to recover and all this stuff. But yeah, no yeah, that time was that preparing for that race, being in a chair for the first time was literally my first time. I mean, I kind of sat in one, but I never pushed myself around. But that was a challenge. I was using a whole different muscles. I mean, sure, I was swimming and doing different things and stuff like that. It was interesting. Like my hands and the cramping in my hands and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like, remember doing those 500-meter loops?
yeah.
Yeah, that was,
Around the school, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
learning how to brake or,
Because there was a part for people that didn't know, there was a part in that like we did a loop one of the local schools here because the track was
that's
closed at
right.
night and we couldn't get into the actual track um, because the way they had the what do you call that
The
this
entrance.
it was like it was almost like a cattle gate. It was just
Yeah, totally.
an S gate there, and like you can't get a wheelchair through it. So we ended up having to improvise, and we ended up going like around this walking path that was the outside of like the high school. And the
That's right.
cool part about it actually probably worked out better because there was so many varying levels to that whole
Yeah.
thing. There was upside and
Yeah,
a downside, and
there's like
then we would
hills.
go back and forth, and then we'd switch sides. So your outside arm, because in a wheelchair, your outside arm is doing more of the work because you're going an extra rotation or
Yeah,
so. Within reason. Every time you're pushing on the outside, especially when you're going around a corner. So we would switch,
that's right.
directions and count it out. And we time ourselves and I was just, and like, at there's certain points where like, I'm going up the hill and I've got some strength doing that, so I was able to do that. And then Dave's lighter than me, so he's faster than me on the flat parts, and like it was just neat to go through that whole process, right? Like,
It was really
so,
cool. It was so awesome.
yeah,
That was rad. So it was a challenge for both of us, and we totally came out on top. We learned something from that journey. It was so cool. I mean, that
yeah,
was rad, man. I mean, yeah, and there's those journeys. There's mental journeys. There's physical journeys. There's so many different journeys. Everybody has their own journey.
well,
You have your journey. I have mine.
and I think it's important to remember how lucky we are in every moment that we're at.
Yeah.
Because, like when I was still at my previous job, I was just so stressed and so overwhelmed that I was getting angry that I wasn't further ahead than I was,
Hmm.
right? And like, because I'm in, I'm not, it's sort of the the caveman sort of, uh the caveman hierarchy. I don't have the house and the car and the, all the things that I sort of I wanted for myself and for, what I needed for family and relationship and all that stuff. And then, you got to remember that I'm super lucky. There are other people in other situations that would like to be in my situation, have stable housing and have some income coming in and family and
Hmm.
support. And I have a wonderful girlfriend. So like, relationship wise, we do great.
Hmm.
And I had to remind myself, because as soon as I saw your backdrop there, Dave, like, I'm like, oh, Dave's got that yard and he's got a house and he's got like, I want to be where you're at. Right. And then, like, it's just remembering that you're lucky to have what you have. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's good, that like, that's one of the reasons why collaboration is so important. Not just the ideas and the mastermind idea behind it, but
Yeah.
just remembering that, like, everyone is in different situations, and there are going to be some people that we help that are in a situation that want to get to where I am, and then
Yeah.
I want to get to where you are, and you want to get to another level, and so it's just part of that whole collective push, right?
Well, I know, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. And I mean, if we think about it, there's these things which we go through all the time. There's these things that come and go. There's these physical things. There's this jacket that's going to come and go, could get eaten by moths or something. There's,
It better not. It's awesome.
I know, it's pretty cool. I got my wife bought me this really cool, we'll get back on topic, but this really cool pocket watch. It's about 100 years old,
Oh, nice.
uh, built in Vancouver. And when I'm not wearing my smartwatch, I wear this. Kind of grounds me, but I just love everything about just the mechanics behind it. It makes me think how much effort was that humans took to build these things. All those tiny gears, everything. It's a good reminder
Yeah.
that I
And
use.
everything takes a lot of little tiny gears to make something big work.
It
That
totally does, and I
that on
think
the outside looks really simple. It's
yeah,
a clock, but there's
yeah,
millions of tiny little parts that make it work.
totally. And in time, that's going to go. That will possibly die. That'll possibly not work anymore. It may get lost. But the one thing that we have in us is here. Everything that we learn, everything part of our journey is going to be in here. And at the end of the day, this is what we're going to have. What's inside here.
Yeah.
How we nurture this and how we nurture this is what we're going to have. I am 40 years old. Sometimes I think how old am I? Am I 20? No, wait a second. I'm not. Like, it's
Well,
like,
for anybody that's watching this video, they won't believe that you're 40. So
yeah, it's,
you know,
it's those things, but yeah,
but I just ultimately, because, like, number one, you have such high energy and awesomeness, but you look like you're maybe about, just legal enough to go drink in Vegas, kind of thing. So
oh gosh,
like,
oh gosh, you
so
know,
I shaved my head and people think I'm 2 years younger than I actually am. So, but it speaks to your healthy lifestyle, and also, the joy that you have in terms of, you enjoy everything that you do. I know you have some struggles and some stress every once in a while, but like, every time I see you and every time I see you with somebody else, you're happy, and just, you're in the moment, which is something that I work on, because we were talking about the phones. A lot of times, Laura, my girlfriend, will be talking to me, and I'll just be on my phone for no reason. Like, I won't even be looking at anything, and I won't even realize that I'm looking at it for any reason. And she'll catch me on it, and then
mhm,
I'll do the same thing for her. And we just realize, like, how addicted we are to these devices, and like, we need them for
yep,
things like making these videos and
yep.
doing stuff like that. But there's a point in time where you got to turn it off, and just
What's
enjoy the weather and enjoy the people around you. And
100%. Like, an Oreo cookie's really good, but we know if we just want to keep having another one, or a fudgy, or whatever it is that we like,
yeah,
and we just eat and eat and eat, and all of a sudden we feel really sick. And that's moderation. It's like knowing this. Like, so when you're building your content empire, yeah, it's so easy to get lost in the content, and lost in the numbers, and lost in the traffic, and lost in that. But if it's really it's a moderation, and knowing when to say, okay, I had my 2 Oreos right now. Like, I know if I go 3, especially at my age, if I have any massive amount of sugar, I'm just like, oh, Dad, what happened? Like, when I was
well,
young, I could eat blizzards like no tomorrow. I can't even touch those things. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, it's crazy. And
But
like,
moderation, and that goes in life too, right?
yeah.
Moderation.
And I think we also have to remember moderation on the other side of it. Like I always try to remember not only moderation of your negative thoughts, like give yourself some time to have those negative thoughts because you can
Oh,
bring motivation out of
100%.
them. But
Yep.
you want to spend, you don't want to spend a ton of time there because then you start beating yourself up.
Totally. Hey,
Um,
those negative thoughts are so important, and I think that's why meditation is really good because you can find the time to sit beside them and really analyze them and really be with them and really understand why and where and how, and maybe get an answer and why they keep haunting us. And I think it's really good. And maybe for these times right now, it's a good thing to have, like to be able to sit and go, oh yeah, okay, because it is a transformative time right now, and I think we need to like be able to sit with ourselves, like you said, and just kind of like respect the negative thoughts. And yeah, but don't be in there too long.
yeah, yeah.
Kind
Because
of pull yourself out, like the Matrix, right?
well, exactly, and that's the thing is like I remember like oftentimes I'm a guy that actually likes to use negative motivation to motivate myself. But what happens from that if I'm not careful,
Yeah,
and it happens more often than I'd like to admit, is I
yeah,
end up beating myself up for not being where I need to be. So it's important to have that
yeah,
balance,
totally.
and just always remember like no matter where we're at, if you are a person that's able to watch this video
Yep,
at any point in time, you're lucky because
yep.
you have some sort of technology that streams an internet service that
Hmm.
allows you to watch content. I read a stat and it was from like 2011, so it's probably way more than that now.
Hmm.
It said there's something like 400 hours of content is put up on YouTube every minute. I think
It's crazy.
it's crazy. So
It's
like,
unreal.
and there's over a billion hours watched on YouTube every day. People like over all over the world, though the 8 or 9 billion people that they have,
Yep.
however that collection sparses itself out, they watch a billion hours of
a,
YouTube.
a billion hours.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
like it's a lot, and um, and it's about finding that um finding that good content that motivates you. Like obviously we're sitting here telling you that we want you to watch our content because we do,
Yeah,
but
but we want them to be part of our content too.
and I do.
Yeah.
We want you to be part of the content.
Yeah.
But it's important to find the stuff that actually like helps you, where you can learn and where you can get, move yourself forward. And obviously, you got to have a bit of your downtime and maybe watch something mindless and have a good time that way. But
Yep.
again, limit that. Everything in moderation,
Yep.
right?
Hundred
I think
percent.
I think
100%.
and with the goal setting was one of the last things that I wanted to sort of talk about
Yep.
um, was I think a lot of people um, because my situation, I tended to either do one of two things with goal setting: is
Yep.
I I set goals either way too big, so I just
Mhm.
never did anything with them, or I
Yep.
set them too small, so I wasn't motivated. So
Yep.
they've got to be big enough to motivate you, but not too big that you're not going to get motivated. And
Yep.
then you have to stick around. Like you have to have that goal in front of your face all the time because it
Yep.
sounds really dumb, but we forget our goals.
We totally do.
Like we do. If I set a goal for like 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years, I'm gonna forget that goal. Oftentimes that goal will achieve itself because of the power of writing it down and those types of things. But in terms of like short-term goals or even getting to that long-term goal and having smaller steps in between, you have to see it in front of you
Yep.
all the time. I've got this whole wall in front of my computer is just goals. My fridge, you can see a little bit of it back there. It's just photos of family and motivational quotes and things. They're everywhere because they have to be, right? For me
Yeah.
to be able to get up in the morning and see them and be like, oh right, there's that rancher style house with the garage in the backyard that I want, and it's a picture on my wall.
Yeah.
So I can go to bed at night and see that, get up in the morning and see that, because it has to be around us. We forget because we get so busy with life. That's the blessing of this sort of downtime in this transitional time, is you can take time to actually do stuff like this. Like this is
Yeah. Totally. It's because it's keeping the flow. It's the momentum of it's like Bruce Lee, be like water. If water sits still too long, it can become stagnant and really bad for you. But if
yeah,
you can keep it flowing, it can go from a drip to a raging river that can cut through mountains. It's these things. If you can, even if it's baby steps, and you keep that water flowing, then you're going to find that you're carving through mountains, that you're setting your you're setting your namesake down, you're finding your route, you're creating your route, you're doing this. And it's like what you do. If you have to have quotes on your fridge, if you have to have little sticky notes up there to keep you rolling, those, even if it's a baby step, it's still something keeping your water flowing. And it's so important to have that. And yeah, I think it's so important. I have quotes that I look at. I look up quotes on a daily basis. If I'm feeling something and I need to figure it out or whatever, I look at other leaders in time, and I try and get that to keep my water flowing. And I think it's so important. Yeah, like having something on your fridge, or having that destination that you want to go to, having a race that you're going to sign, or you just sign up for, and there you go, you're in it. So it's just like, you just got to, it's important, but keep the water flowing, keep the momentum, keep the flow, never be stagnant. Try not to be, if you try and keep something common, wake up at 6 a.m. Like, don't just wake up at 6 a.m. every other day. Wake up at 6 a.m. for 5 days, let yourself sleep in a little bit on the weekends or something like that, but be consistent. Consistency is part of momentum. And I think that's really important. And that's in that consistency teaches you to be able to handle challenges.
Well, especially like nowadays with people sort of, being more stuck inside and things like that at the moment when things are transitional. I think it's important that we remember, I should put my pants on and like, treat it like I'm going to work, instead of like just having the dress shirt on and then no pants on kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
people can do a webinar without my pants on.
Right, exactly. Right.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, what? Oh, phew.
I wasn't sure what I was going to get there. Just, it was awesome.
I forgot to put my pants on.
That's right.
Just the webinar. No one's going to see that half.
That's right. So, but yeah, I wanted to, because we wanted to keep it around a half an hour so people are engaged.
Where are we at?
We're I think we're at about 32 minutes ish. Looks like.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wicked. I think.
So I think we're going to keep doing this, but I want to kind of end it on a positive. Not like this whole thing was positive, which is awesome.
I think so. Yeah.
If you could, because you said you're 40 now, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you could go back and give your 20-year-old self advice, what would you give? What advice would you give yourself?
Don't fear. I think I was really scared at 20. I was a very shy person. I mean, everybody has their own challenges.
Yeah.
But I would say to him, like what we're talking right now, is that fear is going to be there, but you need to move forward. You need to be strong. You need to go and challenge yourself, and try these things, and to respect that fear. And not to be afraid to be an individual. I think when I was 20, I was like, oh, look at all these different people. Oh, that guy's got a girlfriend, or, all this, he's got like a really fancy car. I didn't know anything about what their history was, but, at least I think at 20, I think the most important thing is allowing us to be an individual. Mm-hmm. I think I would say, yo, DMK, or I wasn't MK, I was yo, DK, just don't worry about it being an individual. It's okay if you're a nerd. It's okay if you still collect Star Wars toys. It's okay, you don't have a girlfriend. Or
now that's cool now, right? Like, it's funny.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, what would you say to your 20-year-old self?
I think about this a lot, actually. The first thing, to be honest with you, mm-hmm. is that like, every girl that you like is not going to like you, because I was all about the ladies, not like chasing them and being weird. I wasn't by any means a ladies man, but I did fall in love with every woman that talked to me, especially like in high school and after that, and I would take every opinion they had of me mm-hmm. To heart. And so I would just take their opinion of them projecting on me or being mean to me or something like that, and I would then want to go and change that behavior, even though I didn't need to. And I took that into other relationships. So a boss or somebody would tell me, that I needed to change these things or this and that, and I would constantly be trying to fix things in myself from other people's opinions, and I didn't have any identity in terms of like, okay, what do I want to sit down and fix? Like, where do I want to excel or get better? And I think it's important to for us to recognize, like, again, you go back to that individual aspect, is that, like, it's okay to be individual and do those things. And it's,
Hmm.
you know, for me, be a redneck, go to the racetrack and do burnouts and all those types of things. You
Yeah.
know, it's fine. And I've liked wrestling since I was 5. I still do. I'm 37 years old.
Yep.
And, you know, I've got a Stone Cold Steve Austin cutout right sort of in the corner behind me. And now I'm sporting his haircut, you know, like it's this, you know, it's one of those things where you just want to be an individual and
Word.
not worry so much about other people's opinions. You can take them and take
100%.
them under advisement, but don't
Hmm.
internalize them like I used to.
Yep. 100%.
So,
Don't worry about those comments. Don't worry about those things. Just keep moving forward. You
yeah,
know, yeah, allow yourself to be an individual. Well, I think this was a really good talk, Steve.
it was awesome. We should do this
Yeah.
again.
We will do this again, maybe once a week, or maybe it'll turn to twice a week, and maybe we'll have some other special guests on. Hey,
Yeah, that'd be nice. We're this is the first time like I've led a meeting in Zoom. I've been in a few Zoom meetings and stuff, and what
yeah,
we'd like to do is figure out how to get this moving to the level where we get more people involved and
well,
get some
just
people in the comments and all that stuff. But when you
yeah,
see this, this will be up on Rolling Motivation YouTube channel, and I'll share it
yeah,
out to social media platforms and stuff. And
yeah, and you know, be part of the conversation and let us know what would you say to your 20-year-old self. Kind of like tell us, you know, what were some of your challenges, and let us know, because you know, we learn from that. We learn from each other, and I think that's really cool. So yeah,
and
tell us what you think.
and if there's anything that you guys need help with, you know, put that in the comments as well. Like, I'm not saying that we're going to be able to help you with it, but like, you
Hmm.
know, we might be able to offer you some advice on things. You know,
Yeah,
between Dave and I, we've got you know, a lot of years of knowledge with a bunch of different things. So there's a good chance we're going to have something smart to say.
yeah, be part of the community. We look forward to talking to all of you, and Steve, this is a great thing. We just kind of cracked the egg on this, and here we
Yeah,
go. We're this is our water. We're making it flow now. So
yeah.
this is cool. So thanks for having me and doing this whole thing, and I
Well,
look forward to the next time.
and it was great too because this sort of came organically. We just talked on Wednesday. And we're like, why don't we do a video? And we're like, okay. And this is what happened. You know, we took action. You know, just like, you know, basically 48 hours later, we're just, this is
Here
what
we
we're
go.
doing. Right?
Yeah, don't think about it too much. Just go do it.
Yeah,
All right,
for
man.
sure.
All
All
right,
right, buddy.
I'll text you on the flip side. Okay.
For sure. All
All
right.
right. Ciao.
Okay. Bye.